Hey, what is up, people? This is Mark Brown for Pocket Gamer, checking out a new game that's coming out tomorrow on iOS, or should I say a trilogy of games. The first 3 games in the Blackwell series is coming to iOS tomorrow. If you don't know what Blackwell is, well, it comes from a very small indie studio in New York called Wadget Eye Games, and their focus is on these sort of deliberately old school point-and-click adventure games, games that kind of are very reminiscent of the sort of games by LucasArts like Monkey Island and Day of the Tentacle, games by Sierra, but not comedy games so much, kind of more serious games. They've got humour, they've got enough humour in them, but kind of a bit more sort of serious subjects, maybe more like Gabriel Knight and The Dig than Monkey Island and Sam & Max. If these names mean anything to you, will you be my friend? I like video games. So Wadget Eye has put out 5 Blackwell games on PC and now is bringing them over to iOS and at some point Android. The first 3 games, that's Blackwell Legacy, which we're looking at right now, Blackwell Unbound, which I completed last night, and Blackwell Convergence, which I'm going to play tonight, are all coming out tomorrow. And then the 4th game and 5th game, that's Blackwell Deception and Blackwell Epiphany. I've said the word Blackwell so many times that it's ceased all meaning. Those games are coming out later in the year. So the whole series is kind of wrapped up on PC, but if you're like me and you never got a chance to play it because you're stupid, you now have a good chance. Let's, now we're actually kind of playing the game, let's have a jump in. So this is our main character, Rosangela Blackwell, and she's the main character in most of the games, but in some of them you'll change. And we've got this system where we can tap on things of interest and kind of get into the usual tropes from point-click adventures, kind of. You'll see some differences soon. So we've got a dialogue tree. Instead of saying exactly, choosing exactly what Rosangela should say, we choose the general tone of the conversation so we can just like laugh it off, and she can, take the conversation in that way, and you got to try and figure out the right tone to take with people to get around. So this guy is trying to say I shouldn't go into my own apartment, so I'm going to question his presence, and he's Jim Birdo, and all this sort of stuff. We'll just sort of leap through this. You can read it yourself later when you go buy the game, you dirty scrounger. So let's have a look. So what is he trying to say? So he hasn't got any idea. He's just basically not letting me in my door. This is, it's kind of an intro sort of puzzle to get us started in the game and figure out how some of the mechanics work. But really, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this in this video because obviously I've got to keep it short. But later in the game, you're going to be introduced to a spirit guide. I need to keep talking to this guide. Your spirit guide, Joey Malone, who's a sort of noir-esque, sort of Humphrey Bogart style trilby wearing dude. Joey Malone. He calls everyone Mac and Dames and all these fun words from the 30s and 40s. I'm gonna beat this guy up. No, I'm not. I'm not really gonna beat him up. I'm a pacifist. Okay, so I have no idea, and you don't know me. What can I do to prove that I live here? Can anyone in the building vouch for you? I don't know. I don't really even know anyone here. Obviously, you can hear this in the background. The game is fully voiced, and the voice acting, I think, is really pretty well done overall. The characters are really kind of different from one another and interesting, and just generally a good production. This is something that's always happened with Wadget Eye's games. If you think you know that name Wadget Eye, but you can't quite place where it came from, so I've got to go find her. She's in Washington Square Park. Thank you. I'm gonna go now. If you Wadget Eye Games, they made The Shiver and Gemini Rue, 2 games available on iOS and Android. They're absolutely excellent. Now we're here at a dog park and in Washington Square. The games are based in New York mostly because Wadget Eye is based in New York, so they know what they're doing. And we're gonna have a little wander around. We can bring up our page here, and this can see our stuff we have. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump ahead a little bit in the game so you can see stuff that happens a little bit later when the game gets a little bit more complicated and a little bit more interesting. So, are you ready for that? let's jump! Okay, here we are. And we've jumped a bit ahead in the game, and now we have a goal to do, which is to... I'm a writer on a newspaper at the moment. Soon I will be a ghost hunter. But for now I'm writing a newspaper article, and it's about a college girl who committed suicide. And one of the cool things you get in this game is you get this notepad where it's got all these your notes of things in it, and you can kind of put two items together to try and find connections or contradictions that people have told you. So we can go and knock on this dude's door, and it's this bloke in here. Hello, nice guy in glasses, so I can display my credentials. And I'm sort of asking him questions about this girl who killed herself for my paper. And then here we have our notes. It just added that guy's name, Adrian, to my notes so I can ask other people about him. Him. And so we can just ask him different things from my notebook. And I can get a photo and stuff. So that's quite a nice little mechanic you have in the game, where you've kind of got to be thinking about what's going on in the game. You can't just sort of stumble your way through, and just sort of you've got to kind of think about how the different things in your notebook kind of relate to one another. Hey, there's a girl here. Let's ask her some questions. And different ways you can get through the conversation. I'm just skipping through it. She's dead. So Joanne was a good student. Yeah. You tell me a bit about yourself, that sort of thing. You can ask all these different questions, and you live with her. Like, I pay attention. Keep asking different questions. This is just kind of how the game works. Is you're going to go through and ask all these different questions. I keep tapping the wrong button. Oh, there's another one. Joanne studied all day and slept all night. Thanks for helping out. Sure, whatever. This bit I kind of find myself bouncing back and forth between these two people, just asking them different questions. Let's go talk to Adrian. Adrian, man, tell me some stuff about Kelly. So now I have lots more questions in my notebook. So now we have Kelly sleeps elsewhere. So here's our first puzzle. Right, thank you to figure it out. Because we've got Kelly sleeps elsewhere, but Joanne slept all night. So how did she know that? Whoops. Joanne slept all night. Wait a minute, see? Contradiction! If Kelly's been spending a night somewhere else, how could she know if her roommate was sleeping well or not? So now we can go and, grill Kelly. And that will get us a little bit further in our investigation. And here we go. And we'll ask her about this. I don't want to show you too much of this game because I don't want to spoil it, obviously. You want to play it for yourself. Just wanted to give you a little look at how it works. So like all the Wadget Eye games, very retro style, very good characterizations, and gives you a little bit of a chance to be kind of a detective, or in this case a reporter, letting you kind of make your own steps through the story and the conclusion and stuff, come to your own conclusions. Whereas in a lot of sort of detective games, kind of does the heavy lifting for you. But in in the Shiver, you would type your names into the Jewish network, and in Gemini Rue, you'd use the computer system to find people and that sort of stuff. If you've played those games, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I just don't want to bleat on about this game too much because I'm sure you're bored of seeing it already, and you're just like, I'm just going to go rush out to the App Store and buy it right now. This is the Blackwell Legacy. Like I say, there's also the Blackwell Unbound and the Blackwell Convergence are also available on iOS tomorrow, and then Deception and Epiphany, I've memorised them all, I'm doing well, available later in the year. They're all a couple quid each. They're all, well, I've played the first two and I'd say they're worth playing. They're fun, they're kind of short, a little bit rough around the edges. These are quite old games. These are some of Wadget Eye's first games, so maybe not quite as polished as some of the games you might be used to from the studio. But if you want a fun little point-and-click adventure, these are a good place to start. And obviously you can just buy the first one. If you're like, yeah, it sucks, then don't buy the rest. But if you're like, yeah, it's good, then do buy the rest. That's my review. Bye.